Good afternoon. I am Pastor MP, and this is Wednesday, September the 9th, and this is the Wednesday edition of the St. Mark Spark. I want to read you a passage from 1 Samuel, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Sometime this week, I ran across a post on Facebook from a colleague and a friend of mine who posed the question about productivity, asking, how are we in our ministry, in our daily lives, or in general, how are we finding ourselves to be productive? What are we doing to maintain productivity? And I thought a lot about that, and my response was to get out into nature, that I've been hiking, and then also giving myself room for grace. That if I'm not as productive as I think I should be, or as someone else think I might need to be, that I would give myself room for grace, because this is an especially extenuating time, strenuous time. And so that was my response. As I thought about it more and more over the last day or so, I was thinking productivity as measured against what? And with this time of COVID, we've had an opportunity to step back, to slow down, to sort of rid ourselves, to prune some of the branches and get rid of some of the extra things, the extraneous things that tend to drag us down, slow us down, to add anxiety to our days, and then also to recapture or revisit some things that we may have let go and we may have been longing for a very long time, but just didn't really know how to get off the Ferris wheel, or how to jump off of the speeding train, heading for disaster that we're on. And so what came to mind was this passage from 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. And I'm going to point that out here in a minute, but I want to read a little bit in Samuel. And so when we get to this point in 1 Samuel, Saul had been appointed king, and he ruled very well for a very long time. And then at some point he turned away from God. God hardened his heart at some point, and Saul had pushed back, and God sent Samuel back out to look for another king, for the next king. And God had David in mind. And so this is where we start, as Samuel is out looking for David in the house of Jesse and Jesse's sons. Hear now the word of the Lord. Yahweh said to Samuel, "How long will you grieve for Saul, since I rejected him as a ruler in Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be on your way, for I am sending you to Jesse in Bethlehem, for I have chosen my ruler from among his children." But Samuel replied, "How can I go? For if Saul learns about it, I will be murdered." Yahweh replied, "Take a heifer with you. I am sending you to Jesse. Tell him that you came to offer a sacrifice to Yahweh, and then invite Jesse to the sacrifice. Then I will show you what to do. You are to anoint for me my selection." So Samuel did what Yahweh said. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled when they met Samuel. They said, "Do you come in peace?" And Samuel said, "Yes, in peace. I have come to sacrifice to Yahweh. Consecrate yourselves and come to the sacrifice with me." Then he consecrated Jesse and his children and invited them to the sacrifice. When they arrived and Samuel saw Eliab, he said to himself, "Surely God's anointed stands here before Yahweh." But Yahweh said to Samuel, "Pay no attention to appearance and height. I have rejected him. Yahweh does not see as mortals see. Mortals see only appearances, but Yahweh sees into the heart." Then Jesse called Abinadab to pass before Samuel, who said, "No, Yahweh has not chosen this one." Next came Shammah, but Samuel said, "Not this one either." 7 sons were presented to Samuel by Jesse, who said, "Yahweh has not chosen any of these." And then Samuel asked, "Are these all of the sons that you have?" "There is still the youngest," Jesse said, "but he is tending the sheep." Samuel said, "Send for him, for we will not begin the sacrificial banquet until the lad arrives." So they sent for the boy, a ruddy youth with bright eyes and handsome to behold. Yahweh said, "Rise and anoint this one." Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed the boy in the presence of his brothers. And from that day forward, the Spirit of Yahweh came upon David and was with him. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. This passage has a lot in it, and there are several or many lessons that we could extract and talk more about. But the one that I'm referring to today is sort of the overarching message in this passage, and specifically verse 7, where Yahweh says to Samuel, "Pay no attention to the appearance and height, for I have rejected him." Yahweh does not see as mortals see. Mortals see only appearances, but Yahweh sees into the heart. And it made me think about what standard I'm using to measure myself and my own productivity, my own daily routine. And then reminding me that God does not see as I see myself, and God does not see me and what I do how everyone else might see me, or how I might perceive that they see me and my productivity level. And so I offer this up to you, this passage, this alternative form of measurement, to help maybe point to God's way of measuring, and also to alleviate some stress, to alleviate some anxiety about how we put pressure on ourselves, how the world puts pressure on us to be productive, and to what measure are we actually trying to measure ourselves. Peace be with you this day, blessings, and I hope to see you soon.